Hi y'all. So I just got this email last night. Dear Missy, in your first video you said that you had solved a case, at least one, using astrology and tarot. So basically forensic astrology and forensic tarot. You said that you couldn't talk about it due to a non-disclosure agreement with police. But is there anything you can tell us about your process without revealing the victim's name or the perpetrator's name, ? So yes, I can. I figured out a way to talk about this without going too far. So I was driving down the road. I was on vacation out of town, and I saw this poster on on one of those wooden power posts that, you know, connected to power lines. And there was a poster, and it was a girl and a young woman. And on the poster it said there was a reward for anybody who could give a tip that would lead to an arrest in the murder case of the girl. And so I walked up closer to the poster and I looked at it for a few minutes, and I noticed a pattern on her jacket. She was kind of turned to the side like so, and in the jacket I could see like a T, like the letter T. I know that's strange. And the poster was wrapped in plastic, and some moisture had gotten inside the plastic, and that had caused some dripping on the ink on the poster. And it spelled like the letter T. Okay? And so I was like, the letter T. She's trying to tell me something. And I had never really gone into this sort of thing before, but I just felt compelled to find out her birth data, her birth information, and I was actually able to contact the parents and get her birth time, which was very helpful. It's very, very hard to do these cases without a birth time. Matter of fact, I've never solved one that I didn't have the birth time. That's never happened. So anyway, I was able to get the birth time from the parents. And oh, by the way, I haven't solved every one that I had a birth time either, but having the birth time is very, very helpful. And so then I broke out the tarot cards, and I drew the, I think it was the Queen of Coins, okay, from the Mythic Tarot, I believe, and I'll show y'all pictures of these. And I drew the Nine of Coins, which showed a man that was all dressed up. And so I also looked at the chart, and I saw in Virgo, there was Mars in Virgo. And also I think Mercury in Virgo. And it was a stabbing. And Virgo represents like seamstresses and people that do what I call the ninny work of life. Think of things like lint trap inventors. I mean, they deal with the little, I guess what the rest of us would call it, little petty details. I'm not saying all Virgos are that way, but Virgo, the sign itself, rules those sorts of things. And so I saw in her chart Mars, which represents aggression, violence. I saw Mercury, which is sharp instruments. It was a stabbing. And like I said, I saw it in Virgo, which rules things like seamstresses and tailors. And then I got to thinking, the letter T. And then I saw the sewing machine in the Queen of Coins card in the Mythic Tarot. All of the tarot decks don't have that, just the Mythic Tarot. And I just happened to use it for a clarification card on the Nine of Coins, which showed a man dressed basically in what looked like a new suit. And so the name Taylor came to me. And so I contacted police and I said, can you just talk to her family and friends, people that knew her, and find out if she was acquainted in any way with anyone named Taylor? Well, turned out she was. They tracked him down, questioned him. He confessed. He was arrested. And so from astrology and tarot, forensic astrology and forensic tarot, I got the name Taylor. Also from the hints that I got from her photo with the T in the cheek area and the T in the crease in the jacket. It was just like a wrinkle, was all it was, that was talking to me. So, you know, of course, I'm the kind of person that looks at the clouds and I might see a bunny rabbit or a puppy or something like that. So if you're that type of a person who sees significance in little details and things that other people might overlook or might not be thinking about, you know, you might have this ability. Like I said, I haven't won them all. I have taken on some cases and got nowhere. This can happen when the moon is void of course, by the way. When a crime happens when the moon is void of course, it can be a lot harder to solve. Not impossible, but harder. So, you know, read up on what void of course moon is all about. But yeah, that's, and I'll go into more detail later in the video and show you some pictures and things like that. But that's basically what got me on the first case that I actually solved. That wasn't the first case I ever worked on, by the way. I started working on cases when I was a teenager. I actually, that reminds me of another case I'll make a video about, but it was about the Challenger explosion and my study of astrology on that before it happened. So I'll get into that on the next video because it is kind of an interesting story. It's kind of a sad story because it was an incident that upset me, but it upset a lot of people. But like I said, but I'll get on to the next part of the video. And for this section of the video, I thank you for watching. I'm kind of in a weird environment. I'm a truck driver. So right now I'm at the truck stop and I'm behind my truck right now filming. You can see a hotel behind me and whatnot. But anyway, that's it for this segment. So I am a very simple person. I believe in simplifying things, even if I have to come up with my own method in order to make something very simple. I hate complicated spreads. I can't deal. And so I created a spread for this particular case. And I'm sorry I have to go back on something I said, and that is the Queen of Coins card. I said it was from the Mythic Tarot. I can't remember the deck. I thought it was from the Mythic Tarot, but it was not. So moving on. So I created this spread for that particular reading. The victim, and that was to get a baseline. I wanted the cards to describe the victim, just to make sure I was tuned in and I was focused. The perpetrator, okay, and I wanted to get some cards on the perpetrator. I wanted to get a reading on will it be solved, the case, when I was working on it. I wanted to know, you know, is it going to be solved? I did a yes or no. And I got some flip cards also, which I'll go into. And then, if yes, when will it be solved? And then I assigned certain cards to certain time periods. So, okay, we'll go over here to the victim. All right, we'll start here. When I shuffled, I drew a card. I got the Princess of Swords. And it showed a girl that looked a lot like the girl in the picture. Same eye color, same hair color. So that told me, hey, I'm tuned in. I'm tuned in. So I'm going to proceed with the reading. If I had gotten something different, I would have probably done some meditation, maybe gone back to it a few minutes later, maybe a few hours later. And then I got the Three of Swords, okay, which in most decks shows a heart with swords, 3 swords going through the heart. And then I got the 10 of Swords. And most decks show a person with a lot of swords sticking out of their body. And so that told me I'm on the right track with the victim, okay? So then I felt comfortable going into the perp. Okay. I didn't know his name yet. All right. And I drew the Knight of Swords. And most decks show a young man with a sword, usually on a horse, sometimes not. And then I drew a clarification card from a different deck. By the way, I use different decks for each, okay? Different deck. That gives me kind of a different picture of each item that I'm working on, okay? And then the Nine of Pentacles, as I said, it showed a man who was dressed up. I can't remember the name of the deck, but it was usually the Nine of Pentacles shows a woman finely dressed in nice clothes, but this one showed a man. And then right after that, the Queen of Pentacles, and that particular deck showed a woman at a sewing machine. And I can't find the deck to save my life. I don't know why. And all my tarot decks are at home anyway, so I may or may not still have that deck because I've been known to gift decks to people. And then will it be solved? I used the World and the Fool. I used the World for yes. I used the Fool for no. Of course, I drew yes. So then, right after that, another deck I used, I got the Queen of Swords. Now, the Queen of Swords represents the air signs. It showed a woman with long blonde hair, blue eyes, and it's an air sign like Libra. I am a Libra. So I was taking that to mean the spirit was telling me that it was going to be solved, most likely by me, because it showed the Queen of Swords. So here I am in the reading. Then I got a couple of flip cards because I was shuffling for more clarification, and I have sort of a motto: flip cards are life. When cards flip out of the deck, you better read them, whether they're in reverse, upright, doesn't matter. I think if Spirit knows that you don't read reversals, you can read them upright, even if they fall in reverse. So anyway, when I got the flip cards, I got the Hierophant, which was government, religion, things like that. You think of the Hierophant as maybe being a priest, someone that you confess to, or something like that. And then the Five of Cups, which can also represent confession. And as I said earlier, he did end up confessing, which of course helps to answer the question, will it be solved? So here I am, Queen of Swords. The World says yes. The flip cards indicate confession. All right. If yes, then I go over here, when will it be solved? And then I assign cards to time periods, 0 to 6 months, 6 months to a year, 1 year to 2 years, 2 years or more, or never. And then 0 to 6 months, I used Wheel of Fortune, as in that's lucky to get something solved within 0 to 6 months of beginning work on it. 6 months to a year, I used the World. 1 to 2 years, Magician. 2 or plus years, Hermit. And the Fool was never, okay? And so after, okay, the case was cold. The case was 2 or 3, maybe 4 years old. But within about 6 months, it was solved. There was a confession. It came out on the news. And so that's actually how I found out. And of course, like I said, it was a Wheel of Fortune. Within 0 to 6 months, it was wrapped up. He confessed and was arrested. So that was my process. Like I said, I believe in keeping things very simple. I mean, I think that, you should be able to create maybe a 4 or 5 or 6 card spread with your questions at the base. Okay. And like I said, those flip cards are valuable. Don't dismiss them. Don't throw them back in the deck and keep shuffling. You get cards that flip out, you read those cards. So that's my process. I hope you found that helpful. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about her chart and what I was talking about. I'm just drawing one, a very rough drawing, because I don't have a printer here. Like I said, I'm a truck driver. I'm at the truck stop. And so this is why birth times are important. I was able to get the birth time for her. Okay, and when I did that, see, birth times determine the houses of each sign. So this is the first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th. There's 12 houses. Okay, and so each house represents an area of life. Now, the eighth house is a house that I look to when it comes to criminal cases and things like that, forensic astrology, because the eighth house rules things like death, okay? It's not the only thing it rules. That's just one of the things that it rules. And it's the underlying natural house of the eighth house is Scorpio, okay? But her eighth house started with Virgo. This is the glyph for Virgo. It looks like an M with the tail kind of curved in. Okay. And so, lo and behold, in the eighth house of death, it's in Virgo, which, like I said, I took seamstress, tailor from this here, from Virgo, as a result of the tarot card reading as well. Mars, like I said, aggression, violence, that kind of thing. Mercury also there in the eighth house. This is in the natal chart. Okay. And then there were some transits too, planets that were transiting during the time of her death. Okay. That also lit up the eighth house, so to speak. Here we have the ninth house, and I put my sun right here at 15 degrees Libra because that represents me. I can't remember what she had here, but she had something on the 15th degree or the 14th. It was very close to my sun in the ninth house of higher learning, publishing and whatnot. And the results of the investigation, of course, did end up getting published, okay, on the news and probably in papers and whatnot as well. And so that's how I combine tarot and astrology to look at cases. Like I said, I don't solve them all. And see how this made it easier with the birth time? It put her eighth house in Virgo, which represents seamstresses and tailors and, like I said, people that do the nitty details of life. Okay? You see how that made it easier for me? I also look at the fourth house, because the fourth house, not only does it rule the mother and the home and the mother's side of the family and the home growing up, it also rules the finality of things, the end of a matter, okay? And that was ruled by Taurus in her chart, okay? And it just so happened that the perp was a Taurus. And I guess he was, the end of the matter for her in this situation. And so it's not always the sign of a perpetrator or anything like that you look to or that you automatically assume, but it just ended up being that was the situation. So in horary astrology, when you ask a question based on the time something happened, it was kind of hard to pinpoint the time that it happened. But in horary astrology, I would have looked here for a description of the perpetrator, okay? Because that's the descendant. That's the seventh house cusp. All right, see the seventh house right here? That's the seventh house cusp. And then for the disposition of the victim and things about the victim, I would have looked at the ascendant. Okay. Oh, by the way, the fourth house, it can also show location of the body. Sometimes the first house can also. The first house represents the body. But this is not the horary chart. This is not the chart of the time that the crime happened or the 911 call was made or whatever. This is this is derived from her birth chart. Okay, so anyway, I hope that helps answer the question, how do I use tarot and astrology to work on a case. So people have asked me about things regarding religious beliefs and whatnot, and how I reconcile that with what I do. And I've answered that in previous videos. There's 2 of them. Christianity, the Bible, and astrology, I think, are the titles of the videos. But basically, I do not believe that this type of work is sinful. This type of work can be used by actually perpetrators of crimes. Some of them will study astrology to plot and plan when is the best time to commit their crimes. Okay, so astrology and tarot can be used for evil purposes, but in my particular case, I'm using it to try to help, like in this particular case, I was able to use it to get that man off the street so he couldn't hurt other people. So in that case, it's used for good. But anyway, I have answered that question in other videos, and I'll put links to those videos down below. Because like I said, there's a lot of people out there that kind of poo-poo what I do and say I'm a sinner and I'm a witch and blah, blah. I'm not saying I've never sinned. I have. Oh my goodness, have I ever committed sins? Of course I have. I would never deny that. But with astrology and tarot, I'm only trying to do good. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to find out the best time to commit a crime. I'm actually trying to help people like that get caught and get them put where they go, where they're supposed to go. So anyway, I appreciate you tuning in and listening to the video. Give me a like and a subscribe if you can, if you like the video. If you want to subscribe and see more of this material, subscribe. Again, I thank you for your time and have a great day. Bye-bye.